Hi, I'm Amy Anderson, and this is English 10 Advanced College Prep. I'm glad to be talking to you in a very unusual year and to let you know a little bit about what's going on in your child's English class. I've been a teacher at Wellesley High School since the year 2000, and I've been an English teacher since 1994. And like all of you, I've never experienced anything quite like this. It's been an adventure so far. It's been fantastic to be back in the classroom with students rather than just Zooming. And, um, and I look forward to a good year together. I'm going to walk you through this slide deck that you're viewing on my syllabus page on Canvas. I hope you've had a chance to look at other links on that syllabus page, including a letter I wrote to families before we started the school year. As I say in that letter, I'm a mom. I have a daughter who's a senior at Arlington High School and a son who's a 7th grader at Ottoson Middle School in Arlington. And so I feel with you how much has changed, and I grieve with our students and our families all that we've lost. And yet I want to focus on what hasn't changed, particularly in the classroom, and make sure we're trying to do the best we can to make our classroom experience for our students what they were before, to make the good parts of what was true about our classrooms true again, despite the challenges. A lot has changed, the schedule, the fact that we're Zooming and teaching in person at the same time. My classroom is set up in rows, 15 desks spread 6 feet apart. We all wear masks. There are cleaning routines. But what hasn't changed is our focus on reading, writing, speaking, and thinking, the skills that will go with students no matter where they're headed in life, whether or not they think of themselves as English scholars or scholars of literature. They need to know how to read, write, think, and speak. And so I emphasize these skills in our time together. I approach literature as a way to understand oneself and one's world. So again, for the student who doesn't think of themselves as a natural reader, or someone who doesn't think of themselves as someone who wants to go on to study literature in advanced classes in college, still books teach us about who we are and about our world. And so every book, I've told your children, every book is about you. If it doesn't feel like it is about you, you need to think about, who is this human being at the center of this book, and how can I learn to see something universal in the human experience of this person, and help that, let that inform me about myself, right? Um, we're trying to make the classroom a community of learners, and that means that I'm trying to build community between the people in the room and the cohort Zooming, creating opportunities for them to work together in breakout groups to have discussions about the book, or to work together on creating vocabulary slides, or work together coming up with questions that we're going to bring back to the larger group. There are some obstacles to creating community in this hybrid model, but I'm trying to encourage it, and I'm trying to help us recover from, I think, a habit of staring at the screen and feeling disengaged. And I'm trying to say, you can transcend that that feeling, that remember there's a human being teaching on the other side of that screen, and there are human beings in the room, and there are human beings on the other Zoom screens, and our job is to connect to one another. I see sophomore year as an opportunity for tremendous growth. And I love being with students this age as they settle into being high school students and settle into the habits that are going to serve them for the rest of their lives. And I look forward to helping them develop habits that are going to be productive for them. All 10th grade classes at Wellesley, English classes at Wellesley High School share these guiding questions. Our focus is on American literature, and we're really trying to get students to think about traditional but also acanonical literature to ask themselves, to what extent does it reflect and influence the identity of other Americans? To what extent is it or isn't it our literary or cultural voice? And as we do that, we're asking ourselves, what do the stories tell us? What are the novels we're reading or the plays we're reading? What do they tell us about what it means to be an American? What are they telling us about power and access to power in America over the course of history? Whose voices and stories are missing? What happens when we bring traditionally marginalized voices into focus and look at opportunities when Americans whose voices were marginalized, when they get a chance to tell their story? What do we learn about the ideals of America and the country we want America to be? We're looking at America as a way to think about race, gender, class, and the dream of America. And ultimately, what I want your students to think about is, what is my story, right? And what is the way I'm going to contribute to this conversation about what America is? What is it I'm going to contribute um, to the body of stories that are American stories? The body of American stories are as varied as the number of people who count themselves Americans. And ultimately, I want the students, to feel they're joining a conversation. We bring ourselves, who we are, to the reading. And so, as I was saying, I do think every book can be about the reader, as long as the reader has the skills to see them, to figure out what the human aspect of the character is. That said, some books we know do not seem to reflect us back, right? And so we look at books as windows into the experiences of others, and we look at books as mirrors that sometimes do reflect our experience back. As we work to bring in texts that offer a variety of representations of American stories, we're also challenging students to say, well, when the book doesn't seem to be about you, how can you learn to see this person as another human being with experiences that might parallel your own? When the book is very much reflects your experience, then what? What is it telling you about your experience that you haven't thought about before? Or what is it telling you about the experiences of others who are not represented in this book? What is the impact of leaving those stories out? We read a variety of authors. Because of the schedule, we may read fewer full-length novels than in the past. I tried to supplement that with the novels we read, with stories, with poetry, with film, with shorter works, and I'm hoping to bring a little bit more variety in offering students choice, so that they can self-select what their interest is in reading some of the texts. We may do that through literature circles or through free read choice books that students will then share about. We offer a lot of support in the sophomore ACP class. Canvas is the place students will go to find all of their assignments, as well as many other resources that supplement, that are there for them always to use as they work through assignments. In addition, the Writing Lab has just launched. It's a virtual writing lab. You see the schedule here on the screen. Students have access to the link that will take them to that schedule. They click on the teacher's name to sign up for a 15-minute chunk of time, and they are free to go to any of the teachers on this schedule. I am in the Writing Lab on Fridays during first block, but students can also meet with me. My students can meet with me before school or after school, especially if they've checked in ahead of time to make an appointment. And I can do that by Zoom if they're at home, or if they simply prefer to meet by Zoom, or I can do that in person at a distance in our classroom. You have my email address here. I hope you'll stay in touch and let me know if there's anything I can do to support your student this year. We are all in this together. And despite all of the challenges, I'm very optimistic about the kind of learning and growing that the kids are going to be able to do this year. But if I can support that in any way differently than I am, please, please be in touch. I hope you stay well, and thank you for watching.